Hey everyone, welcome to The Explainer. We're diving straight into what's literally the most consequential situation in big media right now, Warner Bros. Discovery in mid-2026. If you've been following the industry, you know this isn't just about some standard quarterly earnings report. No, we are talking about a massive, landscape-shifting transaction that is completely rewriting the rulebook for how we value this entertainment giant.
So, here is our roadmap for today. We'll cover 1. The Paramount Takeover. 2. Engine and the Anchor. 3. Strengths and weaknesses. 4. Opportunities and threats. 5. The close versus break fork. And finally 6. Strategy held in escrow. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. The Paramount Takeover. To really wrap our heads around Warner Bros. Discovery today, we absolutely have to start with the transaction that reframed the whole picture. The sheer pace of this deal has been, well, it's been jaw-dropping. In February 2026, Paramount, Skydance, and WBD signed a merger agreement. By April, the shareholders had already given it the green light. But the real kicker was June 2026, when the U.S. Department of Justice actually cleared the antitrust investigation. And what's wild about that June milestone is the DOJ cleared it over the direct objections of their own career staff. At the same time, regulators in China and Spain gave it the thumbs up. So this went from a controversial idea to a highly probable reality at just breakneck speed. $110 billion. Let that sink in for a second. That is the staggering valuation of this deal, pricing shares right around $31 a piece. This isn't just your run-of-the-mill merger, guys. It's a tectonic shift. Two of the absolute savviest buyers in media, Paramount Skydance, and remember, Netflix actually competed for this too, they looked at WBD's studios and streaming combo and independently decided, yep, we need to buy this at massive scale.
Moving on to Section 2, Engine and the Anchor. Because underneath this massive $110 billion deal, WBD is a masterclass in extreme contrasts.
Let's start with the engine. And honestly, this right here is exactly why buyers were fighting tooth and nail over the company. HBO Max is unambiguously working. Look at this acceleration. They shot from 131.6 million subscribers at the end of 2025 to over 140 million in just the first quarter of 2026. I mean, management is even projecting they'll hit 150 million by the end of the year. Not only did they add around 9 million subs in one quarter, but streaming revenue hit $2.89 billion, and ad revenue jumped a crazy 19% as their ad-light tier really took off. This is a bona fide growth engine.
But bolted directly to that high-revving rocket engine is the Anchor. $37 billion in debt. That is literally the heaviest debt load in all of big media. It's a structural flaw that's been dragging them down since the 2022 Warner Media Discovery merger. And to make matters worse, this staggering debt is tied to a legacy linear networks business. You know, channels like CNN, TNT, Discovery, that are just bleeding out from cord cutting. So you've got this amazing, futuristic streaming growth chained to a sinking anchor.
Now, because of this weird dynamic, you have to be really careful how you read the financial headlines because they can totally play tricks on you. In Q1 2026, WBD reported what looked like a terrifying net loss of about $2.9 billion, wildly missing estimates. But if you look under the hood, it's mostly an optical illusion. The reality? $2.8 billion of that loss was just a breakup fee paid to Netflix. It was a one-time transaction cost for the merger, not some operational collapse. So keeping that context is absolutely crucial.
All right, Section 3, Strengths and Weaknesses. Let's break this down using a standard business framework. Though, keep in the back of your mind that WBD doesn't exactly control its own destiny right now.
The strengths are just undeniable. We already mentioned the 9 million new HBO Max subs and the ad-light tier crushing it. But look at their premium IP. HBO, the Warner Bros. Studios, DC, Harry Potter, Game of Thrones. It's hands down one of the deepest premium content libraries in entertainment. It's the strategic core that'll survive no matter what. Plus, if regulators do swoop in and block the Paramount deal, WBD has a massive downside cushion, a $7 billion regulatory termination fee. So even if the whole thing falls apart, they do not walk away empty-handed.
On the flip side, the weaknesses are glaring. We know about the $37 billion debt and the dying linear networks. But there are two other huge vulnerabilities right now. First, losing the NBA rights completely stripped TNT of its marquee live sports franchise, which just pours gas on the cable bundle fire. Second, and maybe worst of all, the company is stuck in strategic paralysis. When you're in the middle of a $110 billion acquisition, you can't exactly make bold independent moves, right? Major content commitments and capital allocations are completely frozen.
Section 4,
Opportunities and threats. Let's zoom out a bit and look at the shifting landscape of the broader media industry.
The opportunity on the table is genuinely historic. If this merger closes, it pairs Paramount Plus with HBO Max and CBS with HBO. Suddenly, you're looking at a combined streaming base knocking on the door of 200 million subscribers. Pair that with a unified content slate and boom, you have a true third pole in the streaming wars. It finally gives the market a combined studio and streaming giant with the sheer mass needed to actually go toe-to-toe with Netflix and Disney. But the threats? They're just as formidable. The most immediate one is that the merger could still get blocked. Sure, the DOJ cleared it, but European Commission reviews and a whole coalition of state attorneys general are actively litigating to stop the deal. And stepping back to the wider market, Netflix already has over 300 million subs and can outspend them by a mile on content, while premium sports rights are inflating way past what a declining linear bundle can possibly support. Oh, and even if the deal miraculously closes, merging two debt-heavy, culturally distinct media empires, historically, that is an incredibly painful uphill battle.
Which brings us to Section 5, the close versus break fork. This is really the core insight of our explainer today, and exactly why a standard fundamentals analysis is just deeply flawed when it comes to WBD in 2026.
I want you to just think about this question for a second. Does the deal close or does it break? Literally every single strength, weakness, opportunity, and threat we just went over resolves completely differently based on the answer to that one binary question. You just can't analyze this company based on standard fundamentals because every single thing is gated by this outcome.
Let's map this out so it's super clear. Look at how wildly these two paths diverge. If the deal closes, equity value is locked right near that $31 a share mark. If it breaks, it re-rates to standalone fundamentals plus that $7 billion fee. Take the $37 billion debt. Deal closes, it gets absorbed into a much larger synergy-driven machine. Deal breaks, it stays WBD's dominant, suffocating constraint. What about HBO Max? If the deal closes, it gets bundled with Paramount Plus to chase that 200 million subscale. If it breaks, it stays a standalone, high-growth pure play. And that legendary content library, it either becomes part of a combined mega slate, or, if the deal fails, it pivots into a licensing cash engine just to service that massive debt. Two completely different universes.
Finally, Section 6, strategy held in escrow. Let's wrap up this incredible tension between the paralysis and the massive potential of this corporation right now.
For anyone trying to analyze or learn about WBD today, you have to stop treating it as a traditional business story. Instead, its value is basically a probability-weighted average. You're constantly weighing the bullish close scenario against the bearish break scenario. Yes, the company underneath is very real, HBO Max is absolutely crushing it, and the debt is a heavy anchor. But its actual trajectory isn't being decided by day-to-day operations. It's being decided by regulatory gates and legal rulings.
And that leaves us with this profound reality: Warner Bros. Discovery is essentially a strategy held in escrow. Until those final European and state attorney general gates are cleared, this absolute titan of media is just frozen in wait. Every asset, every liability, and every single creative roadmap is pending a $110 billion outcome. So the question you've got to ask yourself as you watch this unfold over the coming months is this: are we witnessing the quiet final moments before the birth of a unified titan capable of taking down Netflix? Or are we watching a heavily indebted giant running out of time while its future is tied up in court? Thanks for tuning in to The Explainer, and definitely keep your eyes on those regulatory